we halfway through 2026 already? Like, what do you mean next week is July? And I don't know about you, but that vision board I made back in December with all the high hopes of 2026, yeah, she has well and truly gone out the window. And look, 2026 has had some big highs for me. I rebranded, launched my new offer, and I'm genuinely so proud of that. But I won't lie, 2026 has not gone entirely to plan for me. Like, my big business goals and routines, yeah, they are in need of some little TLC. Like, I don't think I have opened up my planner and actually planned out my day-to-day in months. And yeah, I won't lie, it's really obvious because life is starting to feel very chaotic at the moment. So I figured it's the middle of the year, and what better time to do a mid-year reset? And this is actually backed by science. Katie Milkman, who's a renowned behavioral scientist, actually talks about this in her book, How to Change. And she refers to it as the fresh start effect. And that's where people are more motivated to change their behavior after a new fresh start date. And that's things like starting on the first day of the week, because we always know that we love starting on Monday, or the start of a new year, like New Year, New Me, or where we're currently at and we're midway through the year. And so if you align your goals with these calendar milestones, you actually get like a psychological boost to be more motivated to go through with it. So what better time to start and actually ride this new surge of motivation and kick my butt into gear and lock in for the next 6 months? Because yeah, this is the first year I didn't even buy a planner until like 3 months into the year, and I think I've used it all of twice. So yeah, it shows. And if I look at this year compared to last year, I do feel way more scattered. But I do have planners in the sense that yes, I have a content calendar, or I have my client booking calendar. So, you know, I'm keeping on top of those things. But usually I'm the kind of person who time blocks my days, has 3 goals and 3 priorities that I'm achieving. I'm massive type A, planner type, Virgo girly. And I feel like this year I have lost her. And so I want to take this mid-year reset to kind of find her again. And so I figured I'm probably not alone in this. I can almost guarantee that for you, 2026 is starting to feel a little chaotic, maybe a little draining, and maybe you're starting to feel a bit unmotivated. So we're taking this chance to realign and lock in for a mid-year reset, because we have 6 more months to turn this year around. So no, I'm not doing this alone. No, you are clocking in with me. Today's meeting is all about giving our businesses the mid-year reset she needs. Now on today's agenda, we are doing a lot of reflecting, and if you're sitting here 6 months into 2026 thinking my business is not where I thought I would be, it's okay. Today is just about being honest with yourself so you can reflect and reset the next 6 months properly. Because when you're running a service-based business, it becomes so deeply personal because you are the product. So when things aren't working, like leads aren't coming in, or your content's getting no engagement, or you're having a slow month, and then another slow month, it doesn't just feel like a business problem, it feels like a you problem, and it can become really draining. You do start to question everything and begin to spiral, so that needs to stop. So I want to be really clear, it is not a you problem. You need to pull your identity away from the business because we cannot fix what you're not willing to look at. So that's literally what today is. We're looking at the ins and outs of our business objectively. And because this is going to be really reflective, you're going to need a journal for this one, because I want you to actually stop and pause the video as I give you the prompts and write them down, because seeing it written down in black and white just makes it so much more clearer in what's working, what's not, and what your next step should be. And that's pretty much the whole goal of this. So let's clock in. Now, of course, before we jump in and start planning out our goals and what to focus on for the next 6 months, we need to actually look back at the last 6 months. So for step 1, we're jumping straight in and doing an honest debrief of the first 6 months of 2026. And as I'm going ahead and reading these prompts out, like I said, you should have brought a journal along to write down your answers as we go. So feel free to pause the video, because I'm not going to leave long pauses as I read these prompts out, because otherwise this video will end up being like 2 hours long of me just staring at you, and I don't want to make things awkward between us. So prompt 1 is, what has gone well in your business this year? And I don't want you to just focus on revenue here, because I know there are a lot of wins that may seem irrelevant for some, but are absolutely huge for you. And maybe it's something as small as you finally filmed a talking head video, because I know that that can be really daunting for some, or maybe you finally ran a free workshop. I recently just did my first podcast and I was nervous as hell, and I know I will absolutely hate listening back to that, and I will spiral over my answers that I gave for the next 20 years, because that's just how my mind works. But hey, it was a big scary thing that I said yes to, and it built up my confidence to say yes to more podcasts. Another thing I did is I started cold pitching, and I know service-based business owners can have really strong opinions on this, but I was trying it for my business and for the most part, I'm getting absolute crickets. But there was one that I got a response and they were interested in my portfolio but weren't ready for a rebrand just yet, but they're going to keep me in mind for when they are ready. So I'm going to take that as a win because it wasn't a flat out no. And for me, even receiving feedback like this from my clients means so much to me because like I said, this is a new offer, so it's only reaffirming that this is giving them so much value. So go through and think of all those wins, big or small, that you've had in your business this year. I also find going back through my photos and looking at maybe photos I've taken or screenshots really helps to jog your memory because 6 months is a long time. Now on the other tail end of this, we have prompt 2, and that is what hasn't gone to plan in your business. And I know this one might feel all doom and gloom, but it's so important to document this so that you can actually see where the gaps are in your business and areas to improve. And hey, hopefully in 6 months time, you can look at that thing that you wrote down and think, oh my God, I finally overcame that. So for me, I'll be honest, when I rebranded, I pivoted my whole business and it led to my current following on Instagram becoming a ghost audience. And it has been a real struggle for me to overcome that. I am currently doing a 30-day challenge, which involves 7 daily habits to see if I can break my algorithm, but I'm halfway through it and I'm not seeing a huge improvement. So right now it does feel like I'm throwing all of my energy at content creation and not getting a big return on it. But we'll see where the next 15 days take me and I will definitely be reporting on it. But for you, try and do this with your biz owner hat on, list out all the things that haven't gone to plan and try not to get too emotional about it because remember, this is about reflecting so that we can improve. Okay, moving on from that, we have prompt 3, and that is where have you been playing safe in your business? And what I mean by that is what is that thing that you've been avoiding or putting off? So maybe it's been sitting on your to-do list since March, or maybe it's that thing that you keep seeing and you're like, oh yes, I would love to do that in my business, but I'm gonna do it when I have more time. Or maybe it's that bit of content that you keep putting off to filming because it's a talking head video and you just cringe every time you think of doing it. Or maybe even it's that cold email that you want to write to your dream client but you keep putting off because you've already told yourself they're gonna say no. Now I will say though, I am probably the first person to say yes to any opportunity. I went to Nashville last year with my friend Julia for a conference and I think she hated me by the end of it because I was the first one to volunteer us or make us do anything that popped up, because everything that I have learned or progressed in with my business is because I said yes. So having a list of these things is always a really good reminder of opportunities that you need to start saying yes to more. Because worst case scenario, if you put yourself out there, they might say no, they might ignore it, or maybe your content gets no engagement, but like who cares? But on the flip side of that, think what is the best thing that could happen? Like putting yourself out there leads you to working with your dream client. Maybe saying yes to the podcast leads to 5 new leads for you. You never know where opportunities like this are going to take you. So having a list like this is going to be so beneficial for you for the next 6 months. Okay, prompt 4, what has been completely draining your energy in your business over the last 6 months? I'll be honest, there has been opportunities this year that I've said yes to just because they were past clients, but the amount of hours that I put in was not worth what I got paid. So I want you to be really honest with this because I'm a recovering people pleaser too, and doing this is only going to help you in setting boundaries going forward. So is there a service that you're offering that you're actually starting to resent offering? Or maybe there's a platform that you're trying to commit to but getting 0 return on? Or maybe there is a client that you keep saying yes to, but it's costing you mentally in time and energy than what she's actually paying you. Then lastly, we have prompt 5, and that is what has been giving you energy. And this may not necessarily be work related. We recently moved to a new Airbnb, which has a gym, and I haven't had access to a gym in over a month. And I cannot tell you how much more energy I have. Like I feel like myself again just by going back to the gym and taking care of my body. My new offer that I have too in my business, I absolutely love working on this with my clients. Like my newest client, she's only week 1 into the business reboot, but she's already sending me messages like this. It lights me up so much and I'm just genuinely so excited to get to work. So what are those parts of your business that just make you lose track of time? Or maybe there's a client that you have that you would 100% do the work for free. Or maybe there's a bit of content that you're so excited to film or create. Like for me, this video, I was so excited to film this for you. So what is that for you in your business? Now, those 6 answers that you have written down, think of that like the data that has done the heavy lifting for everything that we're about to build out next. Because I know sometimes people are really reluctant to do an audit of the past, but it really does help in planning out a better future. So now you have your page of answers in front of you, and you're going to take your drains list and what hasn't gone to plan list and look at them side by side and ask yourself, is there something that keeps coming up in both of those? Because 9 times out of 10 there is, and that thing is your leak. That's the thing that's quietly costing you the most energy in your business right now. Now for me, it's obviously visibility. Every single drain I wrote down comes back to that ghost audience situation. I have content that's not converting, slow leads, and this feeling of I'm shouting into a void and getting nothing back. All of that has the same root cause. So that's obviously the thing that I need to fix going forward. Anything else in my business is pretty much redundant until I fix that. So go back through those 2 lists, find what yours is and write it down, because that thing that you identify is going to shape everything that we do next. And look, I do just want to pause here and say, this is not about beating yourself up. You didn't come along to our little meeting today to shame yourself for what didn't happen. You're here and watching this video because I can tell you're the kind of person who actually wants to fix it. So just notice what keeps coming up and write it down. It might be burnout, like you're giving more than what you're getting back. It might be like a progress. You feel like you're busy all the time, but nothing's actually moving or progressing the business forward. You're actually where you were 6 months ago. Or it may be visibility. You're showing up consistently and getting no engagement from it. So which one is yours? Write it down, because that's your leak and that's what we're fixing and focusing on moving forward. So now we've identified our leak, what's working, what's draining, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort them into 3 buckets. Bucket 1 is what stays, and these are the things that are obviously working in the business or they're giving you energy. These are the non-negotiables for the rest of 2026, so double down and lock them in. Bucket 2 is what needs to go, and look, I want you to be so ruthless in this, because I'll be honest, I wish I had done this so much sooner. Like I said, I was saying yes to past clients just because I felt like I couldn't say no, but the hours I put in genuinely weren't worth what I was paid. I promise I am trying to be better, but I want you to be 100% honest. If the service is draining you or not worth what you're getting paid for it, it's time for it to go. Or for you, maybe it's a platform that you absolutely hate posting on. So you know what? It's time to go. Or maybe it's an offer that you keep offering because you're scared of losing revenue, but it's actually draining you with your time and energy. So you know what? We're going to say bye to that too. If it's in your drains list and it's not serving your business, then it needs to go. Bucket 3 is what needs to get a refresh. And these are the things that aren't working quite yet, but you know will really help the business progress. So maybe your content strategy just needs a shift in a better direction rather than deleting the whole account. Or maybe your website is getting clicks, but it's not converting. These things don't need to be completely tossed out. They just need to be tweaked to actually start making some progress. And maybe you've been neglecting them, so it's time to refocus on them. Now, the reason I love this task is because you can see everything clearly written out and you can go, oh, okay, this is not worth my time or energy anymore, so it needs to go. Or, okay, this is really going to help progress my business, so I just need to suck it up and commit to, sending out that weekly email. It allows you to be way more selective in where your energy needs to go rather than crashing out because you're trying to do it all and focusing on tasks that aren't actually helping. Now, here's where I'm going to say something which probably goes against every piece of business advice you have ever received, because every mid-year reset you kind of watch, it tells you to list out all your goals or give a big list of everything that you want to achieve by the end of December. And what I'm about to tell you is actually the complete opposite. I want you to take that leak that you identified, so that thing that kept coming up in both of those lists, and that is going to become your sole focus for the rest of 2026. And this isn't a goal, it's a focus. So everything you do is going to come back to this one thing. So for me, that's visibility, which means every decision I make for the rest of the year, so that's the content I'm posting, the platform I'm showing up on, the opportunities I'm saying yes to, need to connect back to being visible to my dream clients. If it doesn't serve that, I'm not going to say yes to it. And I know the type A girlies like me are kind of panicking, like, what do you mean? What do you mean we don't have 4 goals with all the sub goals planned out in it? We're just focusing on one thing. But look, if you're like me, you probably spent the first half of 2026 focusing on 15 different things, and look where that got us. So we are keeping it simple and we're just focusing on one thing for the rest of 2026. And I want you to write your focus somewhere where you're going to see it frequently. So you might save it as your phone wallpaper or write it at the top of your planner, because in 6 weeks time, when you're hitting a slow patch and you're tempted to blow it all up and start again, because I can guarantee it will happen, you're going to need to look back and remind yourself, this is the focus, this is what we are working towards. And now we are up to the last step, and this is where the reset gets fun, because a focus without a plan is just a nice idea. So I know you type A girlies are celebrating, because this is where we are building out our action plan, because I'm not delusional. We need a plan and structure going into this. So I want you to pick 3 actions that directly serve and relate to your one focus. And this is not a to-do list where it's just like 3 tasks on it that you need to complete. These are 3 ongoing actions that you're going to show up in consistently between now until December. And the keyword there is consistently. These aren't just tasks that you can tick off and move on from, like rewrite your sales page. These are the things that you're doing week in and week out, moving the needle forward on your focus. And I know 3 actions might sound really manageable right now while you're sitting there with your fresh journal page and all those endorphins that come when you make a new plan. But I want to be honest with you what actually happens around week 3 or 4 of doing this. Because like I said before, I'm currently doing a 30-day challenge and I'm halfway through with it. And I'll be real with you, I'm not seeing the results that I was actually hoping for. And there have definitely been days where I sit down to film a reel or make another carousel and I'm having this inner monologue thinking, you know, why am I even doing this? I should just stop. It's not working. And that feeling, it's gonna come for you too. But I don't want you to let that feeling win, because that's just what the mundane middle looks like. The middle part is always the ugly, boring part. And James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it by now, add it to your list. I read this book every year and I love it so much. But the whole premise of this book talks about how change happens through compounding action. It's in these small daily actions that multiply into significant results over time. So when that feeling of wanting to stop or give up because you're not seeing progress, I want you to go back and read your focus, read back through everything you have written today, because that is going to be your driving why and motivation for you to keep going to complete those actions again and again and again. So if your focus is visibility like mine, maybe your 3 actions are posting consistently 3 times a week, or sending a pitch or a collaboration email once a week, and then spending 10 minutes a week actually engaging with people online rather than posting and ghosting. Or if your focus is getting more conversions, maybe your 3 actions are replying to inquiries within 24 hours, doing a monthly follow-up with warm leads who went quiet, and doing a weekly audit of your content that actually led to website clicks to your sales page. So the difference with these actions, they aren't just something that you're doing once. They are actions that are going to compound and actually make progress in your business in the next 6 months. And then, because I know it's very nice to write everything down and go, yes, I've made a plan, but nothing gets done unless action is actually taken. So you need to create something that is going to make you accountable. So for me, what I'm going to do every Sunday evening is I'm clocking in a meeting with myself. It's 15 minutes and I'm doing a business review. And this is literally just me sitting down to answer 3 questions. And that is, did I complete my 3 tasks for the week? What worked and what didn't work, and what am I adjusting for next week? So as you can see, it doesn't need to be anything too complicated. In fact, it needs to be quite simple, because otherwise you're just going to keep putting it off. But this reset only works if you have a plan and a way to keep yourself accountable for it. So there we have it, our 2026 mid-year reset. And if you started this video feeling like 2026 had gotten away from you, I hope you're leaving feeling a lot more motivated and ready to tackle the rest of the year, and also realizing how much more you have accomplished in the first 6 months of 2026. But now you know what your leak is, what needs to stay, what needs to go, what needs a little bit of a refresh. You have your one focus and your 3 actions that are going to move the needle from now until the end of December. And look, I know the vision board might be out the window. I know mine is, but those next 6 months, those are still mine and those are still yours to take a hold of and realign. And if you did this audit and realized the thing that needs fixing goes much deeper than a Sunday afternoon journal session, foundation, I'm going to put a link in the description below to my business reboot, and that's where I work with you one-on-one to fix your business foundations. And if after watching this video you're feeling a little bit motivated to delve deeper to reset your business, I would recommend watching my business summer glow up video. This is where I give you a full rundown on how to set up systems in your business to free up your time so that you can actually enjoy the summer. So make sure you are subscribed to see more business tips and advice from the girlie who runs hers out of a suitcase, and I'll see you in the next one.